How are you feeling, Jane?
All right, yeah.
Yeah? A bit sore, I should imagine.
Just a little bit.
You won't be having another baby soon, are you?
Definitely not, no.
He is just fantastic. New life for the new millennium, and that's what we're saying.
Right. That's what it's all about.
How about the fact that you had to spend the Millennium night in here? Was that planned, or...?
He couldn't party, could he?
No, it definitely wasn't planned.
It wasn't planned? You didn't plan to have a Millennium baby?
No, we did not, no.
And how long were you in labour?
Not long. About a couple of hours, I think, that was all.
Yeah, a couple of hours.
Wow, that's fantastic. Little baby George. OK. Now, I'm just going to pop outside for a second. Thank you very much for introducing us to baby George. I want to nip down to A&E to get an update on what's going on there. We can go down to consultant John Hayworth, who's in charge of A&E. Good morning, John.
Good morning.
Happy New Year to you.
And to you. Happy New Year.
And how are you? How is it down there? It looks fairly quiet still.
It's steady at the moment. It's been steady during the day, but it's going to get busier just about now. We've already had the first few alcohol-related attendances. A couple of firework injuries have come in as well. I can tell you, I've just driven in here, and it's wet out there. There's a lot of people staggering around the streets of Southampton, and a lot of traffic around. So I think we're going to get some more business pretty soon. OK, so it's starting to get busier here, Gabby. The hospital continues, and the people that you know so well are going to be continuing all through the night here and into the morning, just like they do every day of the year, looking after us.
Please say Happy New Year to all of them, Nick. Thank you very much indeed, and we'll be going back to them later on this morning. Now, take a look at this.
Following the first children of the new millennium, Child of Our Time is a landmark new science series presented by Robert Winston.
It's a series which will follow the lives of these new citizens of the year 2000.
We explore the nature versus nurture argument.
The shape of their lives all depends on an explosive combination of genes and the world around them.
Generations to come. Child of Our Time, coming in February to BBC One.
I'm looking forward to that. It looks like a fascinating series. Now, Chrissy Rock saw the millennium in with 100 men. Lucky Chrissy. She's our angel of mercy, sent to warm the hearts of the lonely chaps who man the Morecambe Bay gas platform in the Irish Sea. The men have been at work all day, and some are working through the night. There are no drinks allowed on the platform, but knowing Chrissy, I'm sure there was plenty of fizz when the clock struck 12. How did it go, Chrissy?
We've had a fantastic night here. And not a drop of alcohol in sight, so it just goes to show you don't need alcohol to enjoy yourself. Anyway, half the lads have had to go to bed. Not because I've exhausted them, that is, but they've got to be up at the crack of dawn. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, there's no rest for the wicked anyway. We've had a brilliant time, and I tell you what, Gabby, here, there's some talent on this platform, let me tell you. Look at this.
Handicapped race, the main event of the day.
2-1-2. 3-3. Yes. 2 3s. 2 5s. Was his winning? That was his winning. 4 5. Yeah.
Sorry, Janice.
£220 we've raised, Dave.
The lads have given us so much fun today, so I'm going to give them a little treat because they've worked really hard, and I'm going to do my act for them. So let's go and see how they get on. Any impudent men in tonight? See that? You can't even get your arms up either, can you? My husband's on that Viagra. I'm on Prozac, so if you can't do it, I don't care anymore. Are you married, love? You look miserable enough to be married, doesn't you? But you're looking at a woman here who's got 2 weeks to live. My husband's gone fishing for a fortnight. Oh, am I glad he's gone? I went shopping with him the other week, and what do you like, lads? We take you with us shopping, and it's like having a parrot on your shoulder in every shop, isn't it? How much, how much, how much, how much? And that's just shoplifting. Where's Nicky? Far, far away, love. No, not here. Right back up on that heliport ball to the top. Let go. And they're going to sing a song now. We've got Wet, Wet, Wet. Or for those of you that don't like them, just 3 drips.
We all live in a yellow submarine, a yellow submarine, a yellow submarine. We all live in a yellow submarine, a yellow submarine.
Oh, I get by with little help from my friends. Oh, I'm gonna try with little help from my friends. Oh, I can try with little help from my friends.
Do you
In one revolution, in one day, we bring you the world. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, the BBC is with you on 2000 Today.
OK, now call me Alan Dedicoat just for the next few seconds because I'm going to recap the lottery numbers. They were 15, 75 and 28, 32. 15, 75, 28, 32. Those are the 2 dates from the second lottery draw tonight. Congratulations if you've won £1 million. Enjoy your Millennium.
Lots more to come. In just a moment after the news, I'll be talking to David Attenborough and to Dame Edna Everage, who's over there in New York. In the meantime, let's have the news from Michael Burke. Michael.
It's Saturday, January the 1st, the year 2000. Big Ben at midnight and a celebration like no other. Fireworks and festivities the length and breadth of the land. One other headline, Boris Yeltsin has resigned as the president of Russia. Good morning. Across the United Kingdom, people have been celebrating the start of the new millennium. Hundreds of thousands converged on city centres the length of the land to enjoy fireworks, street parties and concerts. The first babies of the century have been born, and there's no real sign yet of the millennium bug. According to police, the festivities have passed without any serious problems.
Big Ben sounding the hour and 1,000 years. The queue for London's biggest light show. 29,000 tons of fireworks hurled into the sky. £1 million happily up in smoke. The river of fire along the Thames seemed all but drowned by the flame overhead. Across the nation, winter darkness was briefly defeated. In Edinburgh, Scotland clung to her claim there's nowhere else to be at Hogmanay, whatever the year. In Cardiff, thousands filled the Millennium Stadium. And in Belfast, the Loch was the great reflecting pool. Here, the year 2000 really does seem to offer a chance to throw off divisive history. But the most spectacular party is under the world's largest dome at Greenwich, home to time. The Queen linked arms with her Prime Minister, welcoming the new year in a huge crowd for the first time, sharing the moment with thousands of people. A few minutes earlier, the religious and spiritual significance of this midnight was stressed by the Archbishop of Canterbury, leading the great throng in the simplest of prayers.
Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven.
But many parties tonight are powerful because they're small, simple and traditional. Shetland banished the long hours of winter darkness and celebrated its future. Nothing so gentle at Cardiff's Millennium Stadium, the Manic Street Preachers. In Ireland, music and ceremony had a more profound purpose. John Hume, one of the creators of peace, was in Derry for a musical link-up across the border to Dublin. The new year really does offer new possibilities. And the chain of beacons across Britain are a linking gesture too. Glasgow shot flame high into the city sky. And on the Thames in London, the Queen used laser light as the fuse for a thoroughly modern flair. Earlier in the evening, the Prime Minister launched another spectacular addition to the capital's skyline, British Airways London Eye. It is an empty big wheel after failing to get safety clearance to carry passengers on the big night. But that didn't stop another fireworks display. But the eyes of much of the world are on the dome in Greenwich tonight. Hundreds of performers are giving what they must hope are the performances of their lives at the party of 1,000 years. James Robbins, BBC News.
Around the world, billions of people have been joining in the biggest party in history. From the first celebrations on the islands of the Pacific to the capital cities of Europe, there have been spectacular ceremonies to herald the year 2000.
It began on the far side of the world and came from the east. Midnight in Sydney, Australia. 20 tons of fireworks watched by a crowd of more than 1 million in Sydney Harbour. And then, through the predominantly non-Christian nations of Asia, the first moments of the Millennium Year were celebrated, until a little more than 3 hours ago, midnight came to the place where it all began 2,000 years ago, to Bethlehem. In Manger Square, the birthplace of Christianity, 2,000 doves of peace were released. In Egypt, thousands congregated at the pyramids, monuments constructed more than 2,000 years before the birth of Christ. In South Africa, Nelson Mandela visited the cell on Robben Island, where he was held for much of the 27 years he spent in the prisons of the apartheid regime. He lit a candle, symbolizing the hopes for a better tomorrow for Africa and the rest of the world. The midnight hour approached Europe. In Athens, celebrations centered on the ruins of the ancient Greek temple, the Acropolis. At the Brandenburg Gate in Berlin, Germany closed the door on a turbulent century of war and division. At the Vatican, Pope John Paul appeared to express his New Year good wishes to men and women in every part of the world. And in Paris, a spectacular display at the Eiffel Tower. 20,000 lights and several tons of fireworks were used as France joined the rest of Europe as it stepped across the threshold into the year 2000. Nicholas Witchell, BBC News.
Other news at the turn of the millennium, President Clinton and Tony Blair have both praised Boris Yeltsin for helping to steer Russia away from communism. Mr. Yeltsin resigned as president this morning, telling the Russian people that he'd done all he can. He named the Prime Minister, Vladimir Putin, as acting president until elections next March.
After years of fevered speculation about what would come after Boris Yeltsin, it all ended like this. Thank you very much, Vladimir Putin said, casually accepting the leadership of the world's largest country. The transfer of the secure briefcase containing the nuclear button and control of Russia's strategic arsenal came next. Boris Yeltsin is master of the dramatic surprise. He used his traditional New Year address to drop his greatest and last bombshell. And in the poignant final moments of the reign of Tsar Boris, perhaps this is his greatest gift to Russia, that the long-awaited transition, when it finally came, was low-key, informal, and smoother than anyone he had dared imagine. Tonight, Vladimir Putin made his first presidential address at midnight, a new face for the new millennium. There will be no power vacuum, he said. There was a warning, too. Anyone who tries to act outside the constitution, he said, will be crushed. Boris Yeltsin leaves the stage much as he entered it, with a dramatic gesture that leaves his political opponents in bewildered disarray. Tonight, he becomes the first leader of this ancient nation to walk voluntarily out of office and into retirement. Alan Little, BBC News, Moscow.
Most of the hostages freed from the hijacked Indian Airlines plane have arrived back in Delhi. The crisis ended after India released 3 Kashmiri militants. The Indian government's been criticised for agreeing to the deal.
Amid the wreckage of the Afghan conflict, the agony of Flight 814 reached its end today at the airport of Kandahar. The plane has sat here for a week. This afternoon, a sudden flurry of activity. Negotiators from the Indian government arrived to concede to some of the hijackers' demands. The Indian foreign minister was escorted across the tarmac to seal the hostages' freedom. On news of the deal, the hijackers warily emerged from the plane. Their identities are still unclear. Under the deal, this man and 2 accomplices go free. The hostages were whisked to another waiting airliner to be flown to Delhi. To buy their freedom, India agreed to free from jail 3 men convicted of fighting for Kashmiri separatism. Relieved Taliban militiamen were praised by Indian officials for their handling of the crisis. 8 days in, 1 man dead, and the hijack is over. The hostages are free. But the damage to the always fraught relationship between India and Pakistan is still to be calculated. From India have come hints that Muslim Pakistan sympathized with this act of terror. The hijacking will only worsen the tension on the Indian subcontinent. Adam Brooks, BBC News, Kandahar.
Well, back now for an update on how the Great Millennium Party is going. First, our correspondent George Eakin is in Trafalgar Square. George, lots of fun, but is there any trouble?
No sign at all of any trouble, Michael. People are beginning to leave. As the deadline approached, it seemed everybody here, and there were some 60,000 of them, was letting their flash gun off. A huge atmosphere, and then the firework display, something which, as the fireworks detonated rather like an artillery barrage above us, Nelson on his column can't have seen the like of it since the real Battle of Trafalgar. We really were agog. People stood with their mouths open, gazing at the sky. That firework display is obviously now over. It's raining quite hard now, and people are beginning to filter away from Trafalgar Square quite quickly to catch the transport system, to catch them home if they can.
George Eakin, thanks very much indeed. Well, how's Hogmanay going? Kirsty Walk is still in Edinburgh. Kirsty.
And Michael Burke, you should know what Scottish Hogmanay is like because you were the BBC's energy correspondent. Edinburgh is still going absolutely crazy. But it's worth remembering that actually in villages and towns all over Scotland there are street parties which are simply mini versions of this. But people are clearly used to an Edinburgh Hogmanay party but have decided to make this Millennium Party a night to remember. I mean, I imagine these crowds will still be here for the next 2 or 3 hours because they're in a party mood and there's still a long way to go. There's still ceilidh bands playing, there's still revellers in the street, and there's still a lot of very strange hats out there. So maybe another Hogmanay, you'll be in Scotland again, Michael.
Kirsty, thanks very much indeed. More stamina up there, I think. Well, that's the end of my stint. Can I wish you personally a very happy new millennium? I'll leave you in the just as capable but rather more delicate hands of Sian Williams. Sian.
Oh, I'm charmed. Thank you very much. I'm not sure whether he's disappointed or relieved to go. What do you think, Gabby?
Probably relieved. You can have a glass of champagne now.
Yeah, and a
well,
nice
welcome.
kip. Thank you very much.
How,
It's nice to be
how long
here.
are you going to be with us for?
Oh, ages. Ages and
Until
ages. Overnight, basically.
Lovely.
So lots more midnights, some sunrises.
Brilliant.
So it's going to be good fun. And I'm going to be bringing you, obviously, all the latest news updates as well. But first of all, I think we need to find out what the weather's going to be like for tomorrow, for New Year's Day, and cross over to John Ketley. John, what's it like out there?
Thanks, Sean. Well, I think most people have been very lucky around midnight. Actually, the band of rain that was around on New Year's Eve across the north in particular actually swept away during the course of the day, so things have changed as we've gone through the past few hours. We saw that band of rain narrowing as it's coming to the south. And that line of rain now is affecting the London area, as you can see. But we're not seeing too much at the moment on the graphics because it seems to have failed on us. Maybe it's the bug, that famous bug that Peter's been talking about. So we're not going to change the charts at all. But I can tell you that by the morning, most of that drizzly rain will have cleared away from all but the southeastern corner of England. A few showers coming to the northwest of Scotland. It will turn chilly. There could be some fog around, some icy patches out on the roads as well if you're dashing home in the next few hours across more central and northern parts of the country. And then as far as tomorrow's concerned, New Year's Day itself, it looks like being pretty good for many. Lots of sunshine around. We should see a good deal of fine, bright weather, but there will be some wetter weather again rolling into western Scotland. Not too good up there. And we're going to find for Sunday, in fact, that things do change once again. We'll see a band of rain then lying across Northern Ireland and southern Scotland. That'll tend to push northwards again. It'll be pretty chilly. The big problem about England and Wales, perhaps on New Year's Day and the following days, that we're going to see some mist and fog around, particularly on Sunday, and that fog could be rather slow to clear across more southern parts. And where the fog does linger, on Sunday especially, we're going to see it pretty chilly, just 4 or 5 degrees. That's it from me. I'll be back just before 3.
Now, this is a bit of a dream for me, because he's a bit of a hero of mine. So I'm delighted to be able to introduce the very first Parkinson of the new millennium. I hand over to the one and only Mr. Michael Parkinson.
Dear, thank you, Gabby. I don't know if it's a sort of fully-fledged Parkinson programme. I've got Sir David Attenborough here. And over in New York, shortly, we're going to be talking to Dame Edna Everage. And I thought we'd just sort of round up now at this point, you know, what we've seen so far, David. I mean, you've been holding a watching brief for us during the course of the evening. What have you made of it all?
Well, I'm reminded of how we all felt when we first saw the world from Apollo. When we suddenly saw that we were really just one small globe in space. And I've had that feeling again tonight, that we've been round the world. Mm-hmm. And you may say that the millennium's a very arbitrary date, you know, and we know that it is. We know that it doesn't actually coincide with a particular birthday, as we used to think it did. And we know that the calendar has been messed about, so we don't know whether it really was 2,000 years or not. But the fact of the matter, and the important thing, is that people all around the world agreed, okay, time for a party. Okay, a time for looking back and for looking forward. And if all of us, all the world thinks that, that is not a bad start to be thinking together, it seems to me.
Yes. Can I just say we're getting some terrible noise? I think it's just doing John Ketley talking in the background. Could you rip his mic off or something like that, because it's a bit distracting. So it has a significance then beyond the firework display and the
Well, I think
party,
so.
yes.
I mean, I truly think... See, after all, I've been sitting up there looking at pictures coming from India, from China, from all over the place. And the fact that everybody's agreed, okay, it may not coincide with events in our particular religion, but okay, this is a time for looking back and for looking forward. That is something. And I'm not suggesting that it's going to mean that people will forget their quarrels with one another, but at least it will understand that we are all together on this one planet, and we do have the responsibility to do something about it.
What's been interesting too, of course, has been the way that this medium that we work in has brought all this together, the way that we've encircled the globe with technology. It must be interesting to you to think back, I mean, over the time that you spent starting in television. I mean, this was unthinkable, wasn't it?
Yeah, was it ever? Yes. I remember when David's father, Richard, you probably do too, said, and now we have an important moment in the development of television. Within the next 10 minutes, 15 minutes, if we're lucky, we may get pictures from Calais!
Yeah, that was about the limit of it, about 50 miles,
It
wasn't
was.
it? Something like that.
It was.
That was the
Soon
big
hit it
thing.
down, and if you remember the satellite, it just went over, and you could only get a short period when you could see both sides, as it
Yes.
were.
So from that point of view, I mean, this kind of wonderful technology, the advance has been to the common good.
Oh, I don't have any doubt about that.
Yes.
And the interesting thing, of course, is that what we have seen tonight couldn't have happened even 10 years ago.
No.
It was simply impossible.
Yes. Talking about the advances in technology, I mean, what difference have they made to you and the job that you particularly do, filming natural wildlife? Has it made your job easier? Has it made it more...
Oh, yeah. Certainly it's made it easier. I mean, it hasn't made it easier, but it's meant that it is possible to do things that we never dreamed were possible. We didn't believe ever that we would be able to see in the dark. At least not in my lifetime, I didn't think. And yet here we have cameras which can really see absolutely in pitch blackness. And we didn't really think that we could ever see inside, let us say, a mole tunnel.
Yes.
And now we've got little cameras, as you know, the size of your little finger that you can put in there.
Yes.
And so you can see all kinds of new things which you've never thought you'd see before.
And looking back on that long career you've had doing the job you're doing, do you think you've actually made any difference? Do you think you've had a significant effect upon that which you love?
Well, I think television has. I truly think that there has been an awareness, undoubtedly, an awareness of the importance of environmental problems,
yes.
Which wasn't there 40 years ago.
Yes.
It certainly wasn't. And the fact that we have now, most governments have to have a minister who says, yes, my responsibility is the environment. It's very important. And that in democracies, people say, we want to know what people are doing about that. Now, there's a long way to go, but it's a step. Now, why have people thought of that? Well, I truly think that seeing the natural world on television has led quite a lot of people to realise how important it is.
What is it about the natural world, though? What is the fascination? These programmes are not only informative, they're hugely, hugely popular.
Yeah, because I think, well, I can think a lot of, as it were, negative reasons. That is to say, they aren't trying to sell you anything, and they aren't trying to win your vote. They are always true in a really profound way. And people recognise that, and people know that what they are seeing there is something which they share with organisms which are not human, and yet which are part of them.
Yes.
You know? And I think the natural world now, well, look what it's done to ecotourism. You see, why do people want to go to Kenya to look at these things? Because they know there's something rather powerful, and that there's something rather true about them, something rather important. And it's, to that degree, those kind of elements which they see in film of animals when they see it on television.
Given that, I mean, we've seen one or two tonight of what I'm going to talk about, moments on television. I mean, television is about moments, isn't it? I mean, we've had one or two today. What would be, looking back again on your career, those moments you'd select by saying, yes, that was just remarkable, I shall remember that forever when I've forgotten the rest of it?
Well, as a matter of fact, you know, that thing of Richard Dimbleby going to Calais was very, very remarkable,
yes.
because we suddenly saw, see, we had a rather proprietorial view here in this country, because after all, we invented television, and we put on the first national public service of television in the world, so we kind of felt we knew about it, and we did. And others came on later. The Americans came on, you know, a bit late during the war. They don't really actually realise that we did it first. But anyway, we did it first, and you suddenly saw that it was going to be worldwide when Richard introduced Calais. And you suddenly thought, my golly, we're going to see how Frenchmen live, you know, normal Frenchmen live. And seeing how other ordinary people live is very important, and seeing how they celebrate is one way towards that.
This is what we've seen a lot of tonight.
We have.
One of the miracles of this meeting we're in is that we can actually cross now live to New York, where a great treat awaits us, because we have actually there, we can see enthroned in the BBC penthouse, specially rented for such a personage.
A miracle in kind.
A miracle. I mean, actually, you should do some research on this species we see before us. It's a Dame Edna Everage. Dame Edna, good evening.
Hello, Michael, and hello, David.
Good day.
You know, David, I could listen to you all night, and I almost feel I have. This is my luxury penthouse overlooking Times Circus in New York.
Times Circus?
And I want to ask you something, Michael.
Yes.
Why aren't you Lord Parkinson of Bray?
I thought that you... I'm gravely disappointed, and I'm so choked I can't
deserve
speak.
it.
Thank you.
You should do a Sean Connery. You should throw a little bit of a tizzy. Stamp your foot. The Queen's an old softy, you know. And what about Liz Taylor? I was thrilled about her.
Yes.
She's been jealous of me for years, Michael and David. But now she's a dame for her services to jewellery. And think of all her wonderful films. Well, I can think of some, perhaps. And then there's Lord Burt. Has he looked into your studio yet?
We haven't
Lord
seen
Burt of Shepherd's Bush?
David, could I ask you a question? You're over in America. You've taken Broadway by storm, of course.
I have. It's wonderful.
And well-deserved, very well-deserved. But may I ask you, have you got family in America?
Well, I don't. Well, my son Kenny is designing my clothes here.
Yes.
And my dysfunctional daughter lives here with a retired Czechoslovakian tennis player, a strange woman. But I've done something very special and very millennial, David and Michael. You see, I have imported my mother, Gladys Beasley, from Australia. Here she is, for the first time on television. My mother. Can you see a superficial resemblance? I mean, she's like me, except, well, she's not in showroom condition, I'm afraid. In fact, I think she thinks she's still in Australia.
May I ask, Damon, how old your mother is?
Well, I don't know. Let's look at her. I have brought a wonderful Chinese geriatrician with me, Dr. Tang, and I'm hoping, because my mother may have been born in the 19th century, that she might make a bit of a record soon. Dr. Tang, just tell me, will she make it into the next century here? She will. My mother will soon be straddling 3 centuries.
That is absolutely...
I thought her straddling days were over, too.
Yes. Has she been able to share...
Isn't it exciting? I hate to interrupt you, but there's
That's
an
all right.
echo in my earpiece. But I've heard the exciting news that Mr. Boris Yeltsin is going to be the next head of light entertainment at the BBC. That'll stir things up. He might revive that old age tradition of alcoholism. Who knows?
Now, we're all in a reflective mood here. Of course, Dame Edna, is she all right?
Yes.
Your mum,
A moment of tenderness, that's all. A moment of tenderness.
How did she manage in such a frail state to travel to America?
Well, first of all, she didn't know she was leaving the facility. She's in a maximum security twilight home. But I had holes in her box, so it was very comfortable, really.
Now, since we're in this mood to sort of look back and forward, I'd like to get from you, as an icon of the 20th century, your own view of some of the great people, the great names, your great heroes or heroines of the 20th century.
Well, I would have thought Mrs. Thatcher or Baroness Thatcher, Doris Day, Germaine Greer, Boadicea, Eleanor Roosevelt, Gertrude Stein, Joan of Arc. That's just the ones that spring to mind. Joan Bakewell. And of course, me.
Of course you, yes. Of course you.
What falsely modest woman I'd be if I didn't mention myself, Michael.
Well, what about people to watch then in the 21st century? Who would you recommend that we keep an eye on?
Well, I'm not sure of the young people's icons. I'm not sure that Madonna belongs in the 21st century. She's a little bit, I won't use the word passé, it's cruel. But I mean, perhaps Esther Ranson, do you think?
Ah, that's interesting.
Or Claire Rayner? I've always watched her with tremendous interest.
What has life taught you about happiness and contentment, Dame Edna?
Well, I've learnt a few lessons along the road, and this will interest you too, David. Are you still there, David?
I certainly am, hanging on your every
I
word.
haven't heard a word from you.
No, well, I'm naturally modest and quiet.
You're adorable, and the animals think so too. I know some animals who prefer you to Rolf Harris.
Not true.
Not many.
No,
not
no.
many. But, you know, one of the mistakes I've made has been that I've devoted too much time to my family and not enough to myself.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think life is an experience of creative selfishness. I'm going to devote the next century to me. And that way I'll be able to help others more, I think. I bring a lot of joy into the world, and you do too. There are women out there still adoring you, Lord Parkinson, as I call you. Women who like a man who looks as though he sleeps face down on a chenille bedspread.
Dear me. Now, how have the Americans taken to you? Because I would imagine that your very presence was a bit overwhelming to them.
It was.
Yes,
they're very conservative in America.
Yes.
Very conservative. And I gave them a little bit of a jolt because political correctness is not my forte. I speak the truth. I'm Jill Blunt. And they've come round to me. They really have embraced me, and that's beautiful, because I see America as the Australia of the future, Michael. And the Australianization of the world is something that was pretty apparent, wasn't it, during those millennial celebrations. But what I want to know is, you're in the 21st century.
Yes, true.
And I'm still in the 20th.
Yes.
So how does it feel? Has your cell phone exploded? Has that KY got to you? Have you had any trouble with the KY bug? Have you?
Not yet.
You're still... The computer at the bank is still working, I hope, Michael.
Yeah,
You're still
drive's
rich,
still
aren't you,
working.
darling?
Yes. Now, have you heard much attention from suitors in America? American men, have they? Stage door
Yes,
Johnnies,
I've had approaches. Henry Kissinger is one. Donald Trump.
Yes.
Prince Rainier of Monaco. Gore Vidal has been on his knees. Not for the first time, either. So, but I say no. I enjoy my freedom. I enjoy just... That is sharing a little bit of our experience, hope, and strength with our adoring possums.
Now, your mother keeps... She's there, and I can't quite make out...
She's partially here.
Is she understanding what's happening?
Are you understanding what's happening, Mummy? I think she is. As a matter of fact, don't be deceived. She's an artful woman, and she's as strong as an ox, Michael. She'll outlive all of us, I think.
Yes, indeed. All right. Well, David Attenborough, what do you think about this this first meeting you've had with Dame Edna?
Well, she is, as she says, younger than us,
Yes.
in that she's still living in 1999, but she's really remarkably well preserved, isn't she, for even so?
I am. I think it's just because I think nice thoughts.
Really? Really? Is that what makes your hair curl?
Well, I was born this colour, and I only now realise where I got it from. My mother dyed her hair brown for years, and I was a lonely child. I thought I was an isolated case. And now I find, since I've cut back on her hairdressing at the hospital, that this is her natural colour. She's been deceiving me all this time, Michael.
All right. Well, Dame Edna, can we come back to you in just a moment, because we've got a rather special sketch here that we want to put in first of all. It's featuring French and Saunders, two other people who you admire inordinately.
I adore them.
You do, I know that.
I'll be watching them in the 21st century.
Well, indeed. Okay. Let's have a look at this special sketch then, them at the Dome.
Oh, dear. Wow, this tired old ovum certainly needs a cup of tea.
Oh, yes. Fiver. Nothing like it since the dawn of time, as we say here in the Millennium Dome.
You're never off your feet when you're an ovum, are you?
Where is this hard hat area, then?
Oh, it's the dome, the entire dome.
Oh, right.
Yes. It's not finished yet, you see. Not finished at all.
The Millennium Dome.
Yes.
Millennium.
Yeah.
Ah, when is that, then?
Do you know, I'm not exactly sure, but I'll tell you something. I am not going to look at it directly with my bare eyes. No, oh no.
Look at it through a bucket of water.
Yes, yes. I hope it isn't cloudy. It'd be awful to miss it again. Yes. Oh, yes.
I'll be back for you in a couple of minutes.
Thank you very much. It gives me a chance to work on my speech.
What? What? What?
She's not wearing a hard hat.
Oh. Oh, goodness. I know exactly who that
Who's
is.
that?
It's the thinking man's start.
Carol Doberman!
Yes! Come on, come with me. Hello. Would you mind if we just sat amongst you? Excuse our attire.
Yes, we're eggs.
Yes, we're eggs. Sorry. So, could you put us right? Are you who you think you are? Would I be right in saying you're a tart?
Dear. Oh, you know who she is.
Yeah, come on, Jean. Come on, don't be shy. Am I warm with tart?
Joan Tart.
Yeah, Joan Tart.
Bakewell. My name is Joan Bakewell.
Oh.
None the wiser.
Oh, yes. That's you. That's definitely you. Yeah.
Are you here for the Millennium Dome? Yes, I'm making a speech.
Oh, she's the one. She's the speech.
She's the
one. Specky Four Eyes.
Let me test you on that.
Yes,
No.
test.
No.
Oh, right. Yeah. Well, Jean, what actually are your key moments of the Millennium?
Yes, because we've got ours. We've got a list, haven't we?
Yes, we have. We've made a list.
All right. If I tell you, will you let me get on? Oh, we've got it back in the womb in a couple of minutes.
Yes, come on. Hurry up.
Right, well, my chief moments of the Millennium are Magna Carta,
Yes.
the Reformation,
Yes,
the
everyone
Renaissance.
says that.
Oh, we'll do our list.
Oh, let's do
Quickly,
our
quickly,
list.
quickly,
Yes,
'cause
it's
we've
much
got to
bigger.
go.
We started at the beginning of time, 200 years ago, with the Big Bang, stroke God.
Yes.
Yes.
And then ice, walking with dinosaurs.
Yes. Oh, I miss them so much, don't you? Cleopatra.
Yes.
Of course.
I, Claudius, Ben-Hur.
Yes. Now, didn't Jesus come around the time of Ben-Hur?
I don't know. Was he before Henry VIII?
I am, Henry VIII, I am.
His 9 lives.
Yes,
the
yes.
Randy figure, wasn't it?
Yes, and that led us straight to, of course, the lovely bonnets and Mr. Darcy.
Jane Austen period.
Yes, yes. And then we went on to the Shakespearean period, didn't we? I thee thou'st get hence. Yes.
Food, glorious food, Mr. Bumble.
Yes. That was the Dickensian period.
Yes, that's still on in the West End.
Is
It's
it?
lasted, hasn't it?
Yes, and we went straight to the Forsyte Saga.
Edward and Mrs. Simpson.
Caprice.
Teletubbies.
Robbie Williams.
How to be a millionaire.
And there we are, bang up to date, Jean.
You know, that is a very concise chronicle as far as it goes, but perhaps I could make a comment or two?
Yes.
I mean, the Big Bang happened millions of years ago, not 200 years. By whose watch? and, you know, I'm surprised you've missed one of the most important and significant influences on popular culture today.
Oh.
I mean, for lyricism, for its combination of music, movement, symbolism, I refer to the phenomenon known as steps. My boot-scooting baby is driving me crazy. My obsession for a western, my dance floor date, my rodeo, my cowboy guy from head to toe. Gonna make you mine, gonna get in line. 5, 6, 7, 8.
Well, let's cross to Dame Edna Everage and see what she'd made of all that. 3 of your icons there, Dame Edna.
Oh, weren't they gorgeous? What joy they bring to us all. There is a little underlying current of anxiety about this festival, don't you think? The hysteria. I'm looking out of my window now this is my own penthouse, viewers, in case you've just tuned in, and it's Dame Edna talking to Michael Parkinson and David Attenborough. And down here in Times Circus, they've got 1,000 portable toilets. 1,000 portable toilets. But there is, of course, if people want to wash their hands, they're there. But unfortunately, there are some people crammed in there so tightly, they have to wash their hands under their anoraks, many of them, sadly. I can see some of them doing it.
All right. Well, Dame Edna, thank you very much indeed for joining
Very
us.
uncomfortable down there.
I'm
sorry?
I was just thanking you for joining us. It's been a pleasure. We have to move on. As midnight moves towards you, we move more distantly away from you.
I know, but thanks for letting me know it's safe to move in to the 21st century.
Dame Edna Everage, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you for having me.
And a very happy new year when it arrives in America. There we are. Okay, so what about yourself then, David? I mean, what's in the future for you? Will you continue to go and making...
Yeah, well, I'm dead lucky, aren't I? I mean, I have such privileged time going around seeing these things. What would I want to do other than that, as long as people would want me to go on doing it? So,
Yes.
I'm having a great time.
Oh, there's a new series planned, is there?
Yes, I was writing that early this morning.
Oh, right.
Well, yes, I was. Yeah.
All right, well, David, thank you very much indeed for joining us and talking to us. And our thanks again to Dame Edna across the pond in New York. All right, we're going to Fred Macaulay, I think, now, aren't we? Is Fred ready? Then, if Fred's ready, then let's go to Fred Macaulay in Glasgow.
Yes! Thank you! Thanks very much. How are you doing? Isn't it great? We're in a new millennium. It's fantastic, isn't it? And there's people in Scotland can't even pronounce millennium. They don't even know how to spell it. There's people in Fife over there celebrating the new linoleum. And I've got to tell you this, I was a wee bit worried about coming on here and asking how you were, because you're a Scottish audience, aren't you? And I've seen Scottish. I saw Jules Holland in Perth last year. A Sunday night is fantastic, isn't he? Oh, and he's hootenanny's fantastic, apparently. But he bound onto the stage and he said, "Ladies and gentlemen of Perth, how are you doing?" And they all went,
"No bad, actually, Jules. How you doing yourself? You just got on with the singing. I'll maybe take my sports jacket off in a wee while." Actually, I was in tune anyway. We went for some heat earlier on. I had a bottle of that Michelob. It was bloody expensive. It was about 5% alcohol. Well, it was you that asked.
Now, we've seen the dome. Did you enjoy seeing the Millennium Dome? Or the Linoleum Dome? Wasn't it fantastic? The cynics were saying it just looked like a big tent. Nothing could be further from the truth, could it? Because if it had been a big tent, you'd had mum and dad outside arguing about where the pegs were. And you'd had the kids playing with a 400-foot swing ball. Go on, give it laldy. Nothing like a tent, except the mum and dad would have been arguing and the wife would have said, "Where are the pegs exactly?" Have you ever noticed that when a man and a woman are arguing, a level of exactness creeps into the conversation because one of the two people involved in the argument might not be quite as drunk as the man. Where are the pegs exactly? But we're in Scotland, aren't we? We've got no dome up here, no dome, but we do have coming very soon a new Parliament building. Yes? And that is, I mean, the dome's like a walk upside down with some knitting needles through it. The Parliament building in Scotland is like a boat upside down. Have you seen it? But the temporary Parliament, you know what it's got? It's got something that every democracy should have. It's got the Parliament shop. Yes, which is great because it sells marmalade. Which is fantastic because our new legislators can go in and they can go, "What are we going to do today? I know. We'll repeal capital punishment, we'll have a wee think about the poll tax, and then we'll buy some jam." I've got to do that. What we're going to come up with in the millennium? Time travel. Yes. I don't think they've invented time travel. You really? Do you think they have? I know. Otherwise, I would have come back from next year and written some better jokes. No, you were meant to go, "No, Fred, no." People are saying, what would they do? Somebody said, "Do you know what I would do if I could invent a time travel machine? I'd come back and I would get rid of Hitler." Well, be that as it may, I thought maybe you could come back. Hitler was a painter and decorator. Come back, give him a big job. Busy hands are happy hands, aren't they? People have forgotten what the millennium's all about. Nobody yet has talked about the Son of God, have they? And I, for one, want to know what David Icke is up to. What we can do with the dome when it's finished. Do you know what I think we should do? Show it as a symbol of man's dignity. Grow some hair down the side and sweep it over the top.
like Bobby Charlton did in the 1966 World Cup final. And at long last, we're in a new millennium. Can I just say one thing, please? I don't want to be anti-English, but please, now we're in a new millennium, will you please stop showing the 1966 World Cup final? We're fed up with it. Not that we want to we don't want any anti-English feeling, because I've got a special guest here tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen of Glasgow, a young man who's got a fantastic career ahead of him in the BBC. You've maybe seen him on Red Alert. He was nominated for the Perrier Award in Edinburgh in 1999. He should have won the blessed thing. Will you please give a huge Glasgow open Hogmanay big issue welcome to the one and only Terry Alderton! Terry, have a good one, mate.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Fred Macaulay. It's the Millennium. All the fireworks have gone off. It's brilliant. I'm excited. Are you excited? That's right. Thanks very much. She's mad. Anyway, good. I'm so excited. It's a Millennium. I'm that excited. I'm like, that's how excited I am. It's so excited. It's the year 2000. We're all still here. So the Millennium Bug, up yours. It's a joke. Anyway, so it's going to be, nothing's going to change in the Millennium, nothing's going to change. What's going to change? Nothing. Petrol prices will go up, that better be true. And the other thing is, wagon wheels are going to get smaller. I'll definitely say that. Wagon wheels will get smaller. But there is one thing that will continuously happen in any Millennium, any time, is that Beckham and Posh Spice will be on the front of every paper for the rest of our lives, right? David Beckham, always on the telly complaining about this. He's always coming on going, I'm sort of sick and tired the way that everybody goes on about me and Victoria all the time. Because at the end of the day, I just play football and she just gets by. Don't you, Victoria? I don't know. And people are always saying that I'm thick, and that really annoys me because I don't know what it means. So, and the other thing is, well, Chris Eubank, he's going to be walking around, Chris Eubank, constantly, he's going to be constantly inflicting his philosophies on us. He's always walking around telling us what he thinks, isn't he? Chris, he's always there going, may I say something to the people here? That this is a time in our life that people should take time to understand what this thing they call the millennium. The year 2000. This is a celebration of the man they call Jesus of Nazareth. Listen, I'm Naz, I'm the best, there's only one Naz, I'm the greatest, I'm the best box, I'm the best fire, I'm a good-looking boy, I'm the greatest, man, believe that. Oh, baby. I'm the prince and I'm gonna party like it's 1999, Adidas. You see, nothing's gonna change. It's still gonna be hardcore, everyone's still gonna be going out, having a laugh, it's gonna be cinemas, it's gonna be restaurants, it's gonna be nightclubs, right? And typical nightclubs, not that type of nightclub that we all love, the one that goes... Not that. Or that one. I'm talking about the traditional nightclubs where every DJ in the world will carry on speaking in that DJ voice. It doesn't matter if you come from Scotland, England, Wales, or wherever, right? As soon as those DJs get on that microphone in nightclubs, they do that one generic DJ voice. That one that goes, yes, hi, my name is Kevin 8045, so I'm playing Come and See Me, I'm the DJ. Yes, this one is George Michael's Shut That Door. Same bloke. Listen, now, hey, listen, man, listen, let me tell you a thing, right? You know that thing, you know? We can do that one as well, you know what I mean? It don't matter where it comes from, do you know what I'm saying? Respect. So, I don't know what that was about, actually. So anyway, the DJ, right? Same bloke, that same bloke, the one who goes like that, he's the same bloke at the water at a fun fair, right? You get on the water at a fun fair, I swear the DJ will come on and go, yes, hold tight, hold tight, hold tight. Is he taking the mick, this bloke? The best bit is exactly that, is when they go, screen girls if you want to go faster. And if you do want to go fast, at the water at the fun fair, just go, oi, Jippo, spin it! And you fly around. And the other thing that no one changes, either blokes will not get tact, right? Blokes have no tact at chatting out women in nightclubs, right? Blokes can't do it. You go up to a woman in a nightclub, the girls you've gone out for a nice drink with your friends, the blokes are useless, right? You're staying at the bar having fun, we come up to you going, hello, do you want a drink? Would you like a drink? No, I don't. Go away. Oh, come on, it's 10 to 2. You're my last chance. Right? Blokes have no tact. Right, I'll tell you something else that happens, OK? If two blokes see two girls at the bar they fancy, right, they're not discreet about pointing out the girls to each other. They won't go, oh, Matthew, she's rather splendid, isn't she, that girl over there? Oh, yes, lovely. It's more like this. Here, Matt, look at her. Lovely! All right, do you want some of this? Do you? You see, the girls have got it sus. They do it with tact. They've got a little code. Girls have got a code, right? They see a couple of blokes at the bar they fancy, right? They'll be there on the dance floor, right? That's the cue for the music. Thanks. They're there, right, doing their code. They go, Tracy, have you seen those two blokes at the bar over there? What bar? And this is they do it in code. They go like this. They go, over there. Over there, you silly cow. Listen, you have a great new year. Good luck to all of you. I'll see you again. Up to Southend United. Thank you.
Very well done, mate. Isn't he brilliant? He looks like I did 10 years ago. Have you enjoyed your Hogmanay in Scotland?
I have. Hogmanay's been great. It's been lovely.
Fantastic. Thanks for having us. Good night. Well done, mate. Brilliant.
Thank you very much, boys, and Michael. You're going. You're leaving me.
What am I being with crackers going on for another 12 hours?
Hey, look, I'm not going to see another Millennium.
Do you know, what's amazing is that all that water noise going on for 12 hours, you've only been twice to the loo.
I haven't.
Yeah.
I've been lots to the loo, actually.
Wow.
Can I tell you a little story? May I just very quickly tell you a little story? When I was 12 years old, I sent a letter into Blue Peter. They did a competition about you had to draw what you thought everybody was going to be wearing in Millennium in the year 2000. And bizarrely, when I bought this, I realised that I sent in that I'd be wearing a silver jacket and I'd have white blonde hair. Spooky, eh? Of course, I am naturally blonde.
So you've achieved all your ambitions.
I know, that's it, all in one night. I'm working with you. What time are you going to be back in the morning?
Oh, don't ask. 11 o'clock.
Wonderful. After Live and Kicking?
After Live and Kicking.
Fantastic.
I think we're all mustering back. It's sort of like a reunion, you know, Dunkirk or something like that. It's that same sort of feeling. Shell-shocked veterans.
And you're going to leave me in the capable hands of Sean and also Jamie Theakston.
Yeah, yes, indeed.
Hopefully he's here any minute now.
All right,
Michael, have a nice night's sleep.
Thank you. See you tomorrow.
OK, thank you very much indeed.
Bye, Sean.
Now, for more comedy, let's go back to an earlier time and place across the water.
Not so bloody tight, you great wazzock. How can I fight the faggot French with bollocks packed like meatballs in a tin? Tell you what, give us a squirt of the old cod liver oil round the neck. Keep the old orbs and sceptres a bit mobile.
Morning.
Hello. Don't you knock.
It's a tent. It's a little point in an action that would only result in the merest trembling of the royal canvas.
Who the crap are you?
Lord Mandelson, at your service.
And what in the name of arse do you want?
Sire, the French are mounting their horses.
Doesn't surprise me. The frogs will pork anything.
They mean to attack, sire.
Oh, right. Well, tell the lads I'll be out in 2 shakes of a wallaby's dong.
About your speech, my liege.
There's nothing wrong with the way I talk. I can swear as much as I like. I'm the king.
No, your speech to the troops, my liege.
What speech?
The one I sent you. Did you not receive it?
Oh, that. Yes, I think I have had the pleasure.
And is there a problem?
Only one. It's utter pants. I can't stand before the men and talk this load of poncy twaddle. I mean, look at this bit. By Jove. I can't say by Jove. The lads will think I'm a raving Portillo. And this. Gentlemen of England now abed. Abed? If you're referring to those lazy shites who stayed at home, why don't you say so? I want them desperate to skewer a Frenchie, not looking puzzled and flicking through the dictionary.
Yes, my liege, if you examine the results of the focus group surveys conducted within the main demographic areas of your armed forces, you'll see that this sort of approach does elicit by far the best response from the key A, B and C groups.
A, B and C?
Archers, bowmen and cannon fodder. And as I'm sure your majesty is aware, by using terms that the common herd are unfamiliar with, they naturally assume you to be their superior, and therefore to know about that of which you speak, irrespective of how facile, vacuous or delusional per se the empirical content of your actual oration may be.